there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us for Stay Free with Russell Brand right now today. If you're watching us on X or if you're watching us on YouTube, make your way over to Rumble because I've happened to have a copy of the Epstein list right here and I'm just going to read it out. Yep, he's on it. She's on it. He's on it. Oh, you never. Oh, they didn't. Oh, that would absolutely stink. Oh, you can't do that, you filthy bunch. Where's the Epstein list? We was promised an Epstein list. Where's our Epstein list? What's this an indication of? Is it an indication? Let me know in the comments and chat what you think. That when it comes to it, there are layers of power, realms of power, inaccessible even to purportedly the most powerful people on earth. Let me know in the comments and chat whether this affects your faith in Donald Trump. And let me know in the comments and chat if you think a new American party is required. What was it you liked? Doge or was it Elon Musk? And let me know if you're watching this anywhere other than the United States. Happy 4th, by the way, you guys. Do you believe that the rest of the world requires new political solutions and parties? But if those political parties are backed by techno oligarchs, would they ultimately migrate back to the same power bases that the existing parties occupy? Or will new elites necessarily emerge? Let me know. If you're joining us from Timcast, welcome over here. Let's get straight into this Epstein list. Let's release it, reveal it right now. With me is producer of the show, beloved Jake. You all right, mate?
Feeling good.
Happy 4th of July.
Got a little tan.
You look beautiful. You look very handsome.
Look a little dark, but
there I am. No, you do look dark. You look mysterious. You're ethnically ambiguous. We're going to make a fortune putting you out to model. But there's no doubt about the ethnicity of the man running the tech. It's AIPAC himself, beloved Isaac. Are you all right, mate?
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Working with us as well in our team are Christians, and I think Massey's basically an atheist, but he is from Tehran. So let's just say he's a Muslim for the simple sake of diversity and convenience. Let's collapse him into a category. Right. Where's the list? Bongino! We love you, Bongino! You were the vanguard of Rumble, and we want that list. Bongino and Cash, give us a list. Bongino and Cash, give us a list. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to do that with a whole load of other stuff as well, but let's start off with this, is what we're interested in, isn't it? Okay, so firstly, the DOJ, and the FBI find no Jeffrey Epstein client list. Let me know what you did on the 4th of July. What I did is I went to this little private island with this billionaire guy. He's really helpful, actually, and my God, it was a brilliant party. There's lots of attractive women there. We all just hung out, had a lot of fun. I was a bit concerned, really, about how some of the women might have gotten there, whether... You can't go to billionaire playground islands no more. No, baby. Kasara, question. Satan controls the world. Jews rule the world. All of the above. I believe Satan controls the world. That's what I think. When you can find out about them lists, come and see me. We'll have a laugh together. If you're watching us on Locals, hello there, you darlings. Vered and Jude Syke. Women, yeah, I suppose girls, not women. Children, says Ashela. That's right, yeah. Children. Yeah, that's not good. We need that list.
Now to the breaking news overnight about the Jeffrey Epstein files and the conspiracy theories officially being rejected. Overnight, the FBI and Justice Department releasing 11 hours of footage they say helps confirm notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019, awaiting his sex trafficking trial. According to a memo detailing the findings, investigators found the video showed no one entering the area in the overnight hours before Epstein was found unresponsive. But perhaps the biggest bombshell, investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties.
Ironically, it seems that the blackmail is continuing. I imagine whatever powers existed and coalesced around Jeffrey Epstein, where's that power gone now? Put it in a more localized scale. If Hollywood for years ran on paedophilia and the casting couch and sexual energy and exploitation, do you think that stopped when Harvey Weinstein went to jail? Did it stop that day? Or say, look at the Diddy trials. Diddy's been mostly exonerated, hasn't he? Mostly acquitted, found guilty of a couple of things. If Diddy was doing anything, and in the court of law it's been proven that he wasn't, right? If he was involved in salacious parties that were hedonic and decadent and full of false idolatry and baby lube, do you think it stopped with Diddy? Like, that's the fact of the matter. That's what institutional systemic corruption means. It runs deep. You can't solve it with one individual. Even if it's a very robust and somewhat magnificent individual like Donald Trump. In the same way that people on the left used to believe, oh, we know our party's crap. We know Biden's decrepit. We know Clinton's corrupt. We know Obama's awful, but it's the best we have. It's the best we can do. I bet someone now, right now in the chat's typing that Churchill thing. Democracy, of all the alternatives, is the least worst option. Well, institutional power and systems of power require that you believe there is no alternative, that there is no radiant and heavenly jewel to be plucked celestially and internally, that the grace of God isn't available to you, that you can't change reality as a participant in it simply by repenting and surrendering and embracing your own great glory. What does this surveillance footage prove, really? That, what, my God, like, I mean, I've seen footage of like Elon Musk and Donald Trump making out now. There's no footage that we can rely on as credible anymore, is there? Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat. Can you ever trust anything you see online again? Can there ever be a reliance on centralized authority and power again? The answer is a clear and simple one in this rhetorical discourse that I'm conducting with myself. No, you can't. This is who you can trust. People you can see with your eyes. Food that you've grown yourself. Things you've repaired with your own hands. A family that you protect with your own firearm. Dissolve power wherever possible. The UK stands on the very precipice of civil war. We've made a brilliant Russell Brand unpacked on that. That'll be out tomorrow or the next day. Massey will work it out. He's in charge of things like that. It depends on whether he can fit it in around his 5 prayers a day as a devout Muslim. But we will be making content on all of this stuff. That is what we're working hard to do, to tell the truth as best we can as we see it, knowing that we ourselves are fallible, knowing that I myself am pinioned sometimes by the dread and terror of what happens when you speak out publicly, openly, when you try to, with the help of Christ, conquer sin within yourself, which you can never do, because the evil one, he's always at work. He's always at work. There are occultist interests at work in the world, and those occultist interests aren't going to go, oh, guess what? Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, he was working for Mossad or the CIA, or acronyms so deep and esoteric that we don't even know them. If they can kill JFK, if they can bring down the Twin Towers, if they can fake moon landings, there's no telling what they can do. Let me know in the comments and chat which ones of those you think are conspiracy theories and which ones are conspiracy facts, because one thing that's a conspiracy fact now is you ain't getting the Epstein list.
It's uncharged third parties. For years, Epstein has been at the center of conspiracies surrounding both his death and a rumored client list allegedly used to blackmail powerful men. Attorney General Pam Bondi, back in February, was asked if the Justice Department intended to release a list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Bondi.
Wait, I've got to see this. This is like one of those things I love in the chat when someone, I can't even say this. Acme 321. Maybe show your sacrifice by cutting your disgusting, I think even shutting, your disgusting trap for ignorant females, non-threatening. If you don't know what you're looking at, ridiculous curly hair like an actual man. I think it's an attack on my haircut. I like my haircut. You can't say that to me. Oh, you can actually. It's free speech platform. Damn you, free speech.
Clients, Bondi saying this.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by
The desk. It was on the desk. There were thousands of hours of footage of Epstein watching child porn. Wasn't there? That's what we heard. He was watching it. He was rubbing his hands with glee. He had baby oil and baby. He had it all. What's going on, guys?
directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Oh my gosh, imagine if you're watching child porn and your reaction's like, oh my gosh. Like, have you ever, I've actually never seen child porn, but I've seen like sort of, like when people have been abused or beaten up. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's like, oh no. Like, you know, when you're introduced to levels of evil that you sort of like, oh no, oh, evil's real. Evil's real. There's a Navy SEAL out there in this building, like, you know, and like when I'm talking to him, I'm always like, you know, he did like active tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm like, oof, this dude has seen stuff, man. So what do you feel? Let me know in the comments and chat what you think about the Epstein list. Is this a pivotal moment? You know, we've got Elon Musk setting up a new party. We've got Britain preparing for civil war. We've got a temporary peace in the Middle East. Praise the Lord. Thank Donald Trump and thank God for that. But we're in a pretty sensitive situation. And I would say what we're embarking on is a moment where people are reviewing power structures and the way it works. So are you disappointed, Jake? Do you care?
Well, it's just interesting that they're just like, there is no list. Do people just go, okay?
There's no list.
There's no list. I just saw this footage of a guard walking from a door and off of camera. That looks real.
And there's that blue bin. Wait a minute, was Oscar the Grouch in that blue bin?
Move that along.
Kids.
No way they could fake that. That looks, it's like, it's just over. What do we move on to now?
There's them TikTok videos of like giant tidal waves deluging an entire planet. I think we can fake a blue trash can with Oscar the Grouch in it. Like, see who could be the first person watching this now to use that bit of surveillance footage, put Oscar the Grouch in that blue trash can, have him come out and go, hey, Bill Clinton's on that list somewhere, Bill Gates is on that list, and we did see Trump at a party with Epstein, but we're hoping that Trump just had sex with a bunch of consensual women, which, I know from personal experience, does go on if you're famous and somewhat charismatic.
Not yet.
And just last month, while feuding with President Trump, Elon Musk posting, time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. But Musk later deleted.
Don't know how you can walk that back. That is a heavy, heavy diss, isn't it? That's a heavy diss to walk back. I mean, where does he go from here, our man Elon Musk? How do you think these emerging fractures are going to affect American and indeed global politics? Because there is essentially now, whether you're pro-globalism or anti-globalism, globalism exists in terms of communication and exists in terms of commercial opportunity. Do we live in one global economy? What would the actual collapse of the dollar mean and the emergence of an alternative BRICS, obviously is what I'm referring to, currency? What would new parallel crypto economies mean to American hegemony? This is probably what we're on the edge of now. Significant real change. It could be the end of the nation state. I just watched an American academic who works in the UK. I think he's called Professor David Betts. That's what he's called. Yeah, Professor Betts, saying that not only is the UK on the brink of civil war, but several major European nations, so I guess he means France, Germany, Italy, could all be on the brink of civil war. And when you think about it, really, the nation is a relatively modern construct, particularly compared to the age of our species. We think everything's permanent, don't we? Until, if you had tragedy happen in your life, you think everything's permanent until something bad happens, and you realize, oh my God, people don't live forever. This is all temporary. Until you get like, a phone call from a doctor or whatever, and you realize, well, that's mapped onto the global also. None of this stuff is permanent. Read Percy Bysshe Shelley's poem, Ozymandias, King of Kings. All of these things that we consider to be permanent, they're passing through. We're just passing through. That's why the idea that your body is a temple and that you could be inhabited by the Holy Spirit, that you could allow eternity to run through you, if you just got all of the things out of the way that are in the way, like my selfishness, my need for approval, my dishonesty, my greed, if I could let those things get out of the way, then I could be a conduit for that holy power. What else could we be doing of value? What else could we be doing? Just trying to garner and accrue temporary treasures here. That's why it's hard for that rich young man, isn't it, Jake, who gets told, give up your stuff and follow me. I don't want to give up my stuff.
Yeah, he did good on the first few commandments. I got that one, check. I got that one, check. All right, give up everything and follow me.
No.
Yeah, don't like that
all
one.
You got to do, the first few are love God with all your heart, already doing it.
Yeah.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself, already doing it. Give up your stuff. So do you think that our Lord and Savior Jesus knew already?
100%.
So, would it be different for different people?
Yeah. For sure. He knows what he's after. I mean, I think about even the Last Supper, he's sitting there with Judas, and he already knows what Judas is going to do.
Go do what you got to do, baby.
He already knows.
Go do it, Judas, you saucy bugger.
Go and do it.
Go on. Get out.
Do you think the timing, so Elon Musk says this, that he's on the Epstein files, Donald Trump's on there, and then there's no list. Is there a coincidence?
Well, look, I just don't want to upset. I'm still trying to live in this country.
Sure. It's just a question. The timing of it doesn't make you go, I don't know.
I reckon a lot of people I don't know what's going on at these shindigs of Epstein. But I don't think it was solely like a sort of cage full of kids, was it? It was like sort of like glamorous, gorgeous young women seemingly available. Who's the American comedian that did a set on it? Was it Martin? It's either Martin Lawrence or Chris Tucker. I get those two confused. Sorry, because they're both black. But it's not like getting confused between James Baldwin and Malcolm X, or like they're sort of both American comedians that are in movies a bit that aren't one of the absolute top movie stars like Will Smith or something. That are black also. So it's either Chris Tucker or Martin Lawrence. I think is it Chris Tucker? Like Dunby goes, I went to this island, it was fucking amazing. Like he just talked about it like it was a holiday.
It sounds like
we should
Chris
find
Tucker.
that, man. Let's find that bit of thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's been scrubbed off the internet. He's talking about it and just like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Now, so I'm assuming some people went to old Epstein Island. Like, look at them Diddy parties now. 14-year-old, in the local chat, 14-year-old girls confirmed. Yeah, that's pure pedophilia. Anything below the age of consent, pedophilia. Consent. It's not Martin Lawrence. So it's Chris Tucker then. All right, someone in the chat says it's not Martin Lawrence. See if you can find it. Chris Tucker. People are saying generally Chris Tucker. All right, let's get into this. We're talking about the Epstein list. You ain't getting no Epstein list. There is no list. Old Epstein, he had a brilliant memory. Bill Gates is coming over. This is what he likes. Bill Clinton's coming over. This is what he likes. So let's just get to the end of this because this is pretty interesting.
Trump. But Musk later deleted that post and others, saying he went too far in attacking Trump. The president saying he cut ties with Epstein nearly 2 decades ago, saying even Epstein's lawyer cleared him. This is the first time the Trump administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein, theories previously pushed by members of the administration.
Okay. Here's Elon. What's the time? Oh, look, no one's been arrested. O'clock again. There's Elon's response to that. And here is Trump. Here is Elon Musk in 2024 talking about the list. Just let me know how you reconcile these facts. I'll just let you know my opinion in case you're interested. I went from thinking, because of like, say, George W. Bush version of neocon republicanism. Well, if all you've got is a choice between the Democrats and Republicans, you're probably better with the Democrats. Look at Barack Obama. He's cool. He's nice. I went from that kind of general vague of the left to, well, man, Donald Trump saying some pretty outrageous stuff. He's going to blow the indoors off, as we say in the UK, and reveal to us the true nature of political power. Then when Trump was joined by Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy and Elon Musk, I was like, well, this is a really interesting and exciting political moment. Now where I am is, you are much better off with this version of government than the Democrat version of government, where it would be like the Gavin Newsoms or maybe AOC or whoever they put forth after this. But they're going to have to maneuver their way out of the Obama-Clinton legacy hegemony of the Democrat Party, aren't they? That's what they're going to have to maneuver out of. They're going to have to work out what centre-left populism looks like, because they got on a bizarre trajectory pursuing wokeism and made their party, it seems, unelectable. That's what I think. And perhaps these kind of more explicitly socialist figures like Mamdani there in New York are a foreshadowing of what the future of the left might look like. Let me know in the comments and chat. But I would say this: you are better off with Trump, an explicit and overt political figure who may be somewhat stymied by institutional and systemic power, is that what you think's happening now, than you would be than any version of neoliberal Democrat Party, centralized globalist Illuminati power. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. And let's have a look at Elon back in 24 saying if Trump wins, you're going to get the Epstein list. What I want to know is, how do you reconcile if you are like Trump forever? And I can understand why you would be. He's charming, charismatic, brilliant. He's funny, all of those things. Okay, I understand it. I live in your country. I respect and love your country. How do you reconcile the version of MAGA populism you were offered prior to election with what you are currently experiencing?
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Okay. So let's have a look at this. Pam Bondi.
James Comer said yesterday.
Matter of months ago, remember this?
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein
files are missing. Can you confirm the status of them? They still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with...
In the chat, Consumer224 says, Ghislaine Maxwell's case is the key to all of this. If you're watching us on YouTube or X, remember, get on over to Rumble. Join us on Rumble. And if you haven't got Rumble Premium yet, get Rumble Premium now. It means that I can get a new truck. I want to get a really big truck.
With children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Martin seems to be facing a very...
This Ghislaine Maxwell post is somewhat telling. DOJ and FBI have concluded there is no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, was murdered per memo. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for trafficking underage girls to no one. That is interesting. Yes, what's Ghislaine Maxwell in jail for if no one got trafficked, if there's no one on that list, if there's no one in the corridors of political power in DC or Westminster thinking and saying, oh my God, keep that thing quiet. Here's PBD, shocking. The DOJ and FBI have officially determined there's no proof Epstein was murdered. They didn't maintain a list of clients, nor did he blackmail high-profile individuals. This is a terrible look on the FBI and DOJ. No one believes this. Not his haters, not his supporters, not his diehard supporters, not even Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's see what Tim Paul, Rumble content creator, says. Based on the latest development from the DOJ, the Epstein client list is now complete. 1, Prince Andrew. That's it. Dear old Prince Andrew, who was always pretty clear that he liked the bird back in the day. They used to call him, do you know how the world changed? He used to be in the 80s and 90s, Randy Andy. That's what he was known as, Randy Andy. Oh, he likes a bird, that geezer. It was all fun in them days. Like with old Russ here, he used to be like all in the time, all every day in the papers, because it was like physical analog newspapers in those. Here's old Russell Brand, he's having a threesome, and then they would interview the women that I'd had threesomes with. What was it like? Oh yeah, no, we had a threesome. It was a great. Now you are a rapist. Man, the world changed fast. What? Who is it then? So some people get into trouble. Other people, where's that list? Where's the list,
you
baby?
Think the timing of the Diddy, this and no list, is it sort of like a shift? Like, hey, all that stuff that was kind of building up, these people are doing all this crazy stuff behind closed doors, and now it's almost like none of it happened. That wasn't a thing.
I think that you can tell when it gets near real power. I've known this for a while because I've been working in regular media, you might call it. Films, TV, print journalism, podcasts, a variety of media, live media. And I've migrated into different spaces as I kind of trusted instincts that worked as a comic. Oh, just tell the truth, and just tell the truth about what you feel. You know, you can look at my stand-up. It's all out there. This is what, and I've always been kind of somewhat anti-establishment. So what I'm starting to sense is that as you get near real power, the risks increase. That's what I believe. So, per your point, Jake, about the Diddy case and the Epstein list, a lot of people believe that Diddy may have been able to cut some kind of deal to just keep his mouth shut and not say who was at those parties that may have been embarrassed. You guys look at the same media we look at. You see the kind of things that are said on X. You know the kind of people that are likely on the Epstein list. Do you imagine that there's a point where the powerful, their interests consolidate? Let me give you a really clear example. During the First and Second World Wars, and particularly the First, the British royal family and the German elites were intermarried and interconnected. Queen Victoria was married to a German. So while the population were literally killing one another in the most sort of brutal form of warfare imaginable and conceivable up to that point, industrialized warfare had gone from sort of analog warfare to mechanical, brutal warfare. Like the elites were still interconnected and intercommunicating, i.e. there's a strata of society where your economic and social ties transcend national ties. I mean, and why wouldn't they? Like if you're super super rich and you're able to travel around the world, go anywhere, do whatever you want. Like, do you remember during COVID, like just celebrity parties carried on and people went to islands and had weddings and stuff while other people were getting shouted at for not wearing a mask in a supermarket? That was an indication that society is stratified. The thing that's interesting about socialism is it's saying that in order to control corporate and commercial global power, we need to empower the state and make the state responsible and responsive to the people. But it never does that, does it? So sort of that kind of socialism that's born out of industrialization is over. That's never going to work again. We need a new form of politics and government where your individual conscience can somehow be mapped onto what happens in your family, your community, your tribe, your nation, if necessary. But I would interrogate each one of them taxonomies and categories. What do you mean nation? Do we really need a nation? So returning to the question that Jake offered us, like, do you think deals have been done? Yeah, because Ghislaine Maxwell is otherwise in jail for trafficking children to nobody at all. All of them rumours we've heard are likely outlines and foreshadowing of some kind of truth. You know, like I have my own challenges that relate to consensual sex at scale, the kind of scale that's available to you if you're a famous individual. I sort of have a glimpse of what these worlds are all about, but I also know how you can metastasize consensual encounters into vindictive criminal acts that are brutal, inconceivable, and disgusting. I can see that. But I reckon, actually, that there are weird things going on in elite circles. That's what I would say. I would say that whether you're talking about within the entertainment industry, financial industry, and beyond that, some set of power that I'm not really even sure how to characterize outside of scripture, outside of Ephesians, dark power and dark authorities and heavenly rulers, dark spiritual rulers. I wonder what their agents are. You know, if there is such a thing as evil, and, you know, there is such a thing as evil. We've all experienced it, encountered it, and seen it in our lives. How is it being maneuvered? So if you're a materialist and, say, rationalist, you'll say, oh, well, that's just sort of part of human nature. But even if you're a Christian, you would say there's something in human nature that's broken, that tends towards sin. Well, what's the resolution? Is the resolution to trust human authority, which is by its own nature broken? I wonder what you feel this is we're experiencing, all this paganism, this celebration of self, this celebration of sexuality, this deification of our urges. The deification of our urges isn't new. That's what paganism is, to worship Mars, to worship Venus, to worship war, brutality, violence, to worship erotica and sexuality. These things have been around for as long as there have been our kind. What we're proposing is that you surrender to the one true God, that you accept the covenant offered by Christ, that you are cleansed by his blood, that your past is cleansed by his blood, that your present is cleansed by his blood, that your future is cleansed by his blood, that you're broken, that you're always going to be hopeless, you're going to make a mistake before the end of the day, you're going to say something wrong, you're going to want something wrong, you're going to do something selfish or dishonest, but through him who loves you so much, who looks at you with great longing and joy, who believes in you, you can be changed and saved. I know this is true because it's happened to me. I was a broken person that was living in self-service, and sometimes I still am a bit like that, actually. But there is a way out, not through me, but through him. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and the chat, baby. If you're watching us on YouTube, click the link in the description because you're going to want to see the rest of this story. For example, you might want to have a look at this little component. Michael Tracy says, the Epstein files functioned as a convenient proxy to rev up certain overly online, impressionable, hazily conspiratorial demographic into voting Republican and thinking they were defeating the dark, powerful forces of hidden establishment depravity by doing so. Clever. Are those forces still at work? Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. We'll be examining that on Stay Free with Russell Brand today. And before we go, here's a little message from one of our partners. What if your coffee didn't just wake you up, but actually awakened you to new realms of consciousness? That's what's being promised by 17